there, I'm the Divine Miss Mikki. I had sort of a thought about a video because it kind of occurred to me that sometimes people can't understand or expect that all the readers to be saying the same thing or to do things the same way, and they're not quite certain why you're doing something different, or why do you not do this, or why do you not do that, and well, you should say this or you should say that. And if you stop and think, you realize something, and that is that we're all individuals too. We all have our own way. We all have our own journey. Now, some people are really, really good at certain things, but sometimes it can take a while to figure out what you're good at. And so you try all these different things. A long time ago, when I started reading, and I realized that while I could pick up some sort of premonition stuff, precognitive stuff, and I have seen things before they've happened, and I felt things before they've happened, predominantly my readings have been about the emotional and spiritual healing from the past and present. And I remember that I asked Spirit, because I was like, why am I not getting like others can really, they can sit down and they can pick it all up and all this sort of thing, whereas for me it just doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes it does, but it's not as often. And what I got back from Spirit was, how can people deal, how can we give people the future if they're not dealing with the present because of the past? And when I sat back and I thought about it, it's yes. And it's even more relevant today for me, and I hope for some of you, because it means you've done a lot of inner work. But what I realized was, yes, I had all these past issues that were affecting me in the now. And the more I healed the past, the more I dealt with it, the stronger I became in the present, the more aware I became in the present, and the more I changed. And this became very, very significant for me at the beginning of September 2023. I had a towel moment, and it didn't take me long to get over it, because I had already been preparing for it, because Spirit, my guides, my inner self, my intuition was telling me for months what was going on, what was coming. But because of circumstances that were going on, I was having trouble listening. And when this idea of this subject came up, it was a few days ago, and I thought, yeah, well, it's so true that, you know, we can get so caught in the trauma, the problems, what's gone, what's happened, what we can't change. We can get so caught up in that we can lose our way in the present moment. And Sometimes it takes other influences that make it hard for us to get back on track. For me, it was gluten, because I am celiac, and I know I was getting traces of gluten on a regular basis for over a year, at least. And I won't go too much into it, but that really did affect my ability to be able to cope, but also to be able to see clearly, to be able to truly listen. And then comes that side of all of us. We can get the intuition on something, but sometimes it's something we don't want to hear. We don't want to acknowledge because of the heartbreak, the pain, or we may have already gotten through the heartbreak time part of it, but it's the loss of wishes, the loss of dreams, the loss of hopes for the future, the loss of hope in itself. And I'm telling you this in order to sort of give you an idea of why it's so important that we not just have the futuristic readers. It is great to have them. And again, well, not again, first time on this one, when someone gives a futuristic reading, like premonition, precognitive, the cards say this is coming up for you in tomorrow, the next day, next month, whatever. It could be an astrology. The thing is, it's potential. They are potential energies. Because at any stage you can choose to do things differently. Now that can be positively or negatively. You might get told, listen, you need to be really careful on that day. You could have a car accident that day. So you take note and you make the decision, will I go driving that day or not? Free will. And if the potential was that you were going to go out that day, you were going to drive, and you were going to have a bad car accident, and it was going to affect your life, if you on that day made the decision not to drive, then you change the potential future. This is where free will always comes in. And that's where even the best reader in the world can appear to get it wrong. They can appear as though, oh, well, you didn't get that right. Well, that's because all they were doing was showing you a possibility, a potential. The astrology could fit in with it. The numerology could fit in with it. The cards could fit in with it. The cards could say, yes, you've got all this. This is what can happen. Can. Not will, but can. When it turns to will is when you choose to keep going straight on that path. A lady I knew many years ago gave me an analogy. She was a reader. She wrote for one of the big Australian magazines. Rhonda. We were in the theatre together. And I've never forgotten what she told me. We lived in Sydney, so she used the analogy of Sydney streets. And she said, Mikki, it's like going down George Street. I'm telling you what's in front of you. But if you choose to turn up King Street, you change everything. And I never, ever forgot that. Because it was so true. And I think of things that I've been told. And sometimes, I think Spirit puts us in the position where we are told these things. So we have the choice to change it, that it doesn't have to be. And if there's something we are meant to go through, then I feel that we won't get told. That information will not be made available to us because it's important we go down that road to that point. What we do after that can be free will. So, why are readers so different? Why are some readers really, really good on current events? Really good on politics? Because that's their area of interest. And I pick up things on politics. I just don't always remember them because I pick it up split second. And then, if I don't write it down straight away, it can be gone. So, there's some things that stick. Some people are really, really good at giving you the present energies taking you forward to the future. The thing I've found with myself is that I pick up things that have happened, that have led up to that moment, and then looking at what's going on in the moment and ways to change that, to work around it, to look at things with a new perspective in order to change the path you're on if that's what's meant to happen. And it doesn't matter what I say, because you still always have free will. And sometimes, and this happened recently, and it was really wonderful, because I knew what this person needed to be told, but it wasn't coming through clearly for me, just aspects of it. And I realized after someone else gave him another perspective that was along the same lines. And I realized that it needed that extra voice. It needed the different perspectives to put the story together. And I am really hopeful for this person's future because it's just wonderful what's happened. And that's what can happen. People say, once you've had a reading, that should leave it at that. No, sometimes it's kind of like getting a second opinion from a doctor. And sometimes you need that third opinion because everyone's got a different perspective. It's when you're sort of like, I've got to read, pardon me. I've got to get a reading from everyone, and sometimes we love that. Sometimes it's like, okay, pull me a card for the day, readers usually get a reading from someone else. Why? Because we're too biased towards ourselves. I cannot read for people close to me. I mean, I can, but I don't like to because it's really, really hard. It takes a lot of work, and sometimes if there's something there that I don't want to know, then I struggle. I remember my oldest daughter, I knew she was pregnant with her first child before she even, she kind of suspected, but it was coming up in cards. Like I knew before she'd even conceived, and she'd asked me to do readings, and the Empress kept coming up, and I said, will you please be careful? Can you be careful? If you don't want to, I think you need to be careful. And then it started coming up with other cards, and I'm like, are you sure you're not pregnant? And yes, she was. So sometimes those things can happen. So I really just wanted to give a perspective on readers, on the difference, that there is nothing wrong with listening to all these other readers. Always trust your intuition, always. I've listened to stuff and I've just gone, no, that doesn't sit right. And that's even, some politics stuff, and someone has said something, not usually the ones I listen to, because I'm usually going, yep, that's what I've been feeling. Yep, that's what I said. Yep. It's some of the ones, out of the blue, I'll see one and out of curiosity I'll go, okay, what do you got to say? Oh, come on, we all do it. And I start listening and I'm going, really? I'll give it a bit longer. Sometimes it starts to take shape and I go, aha, now I see where you're coming from. Because sometimes, it's just language, it's just perception, and sometimes we need those extra words to give us that idea of where the story is going. And I go, yeah. And sometimes it's just like, yeah, nah. Okay. Intuition is going, off I go. There's some readers that I absolutely love. I'm talking of non-political. White Feather Tarot. I don't know what it is, but I don't watch all her videos because it's just impossible to watch everything. But I get drawn to certain ones. And I get drawn to certain piles. And if I'm having trouble picking, I'll just close my eyes and go, Spirit, just draw my eyes straight to the card. And I'll open my eyes and my eyes will go straight to the pile. Sometimes it can be two piles because they're going, yep, okay. Well, she's doing a general reading. But it just is uncanny how much it's in sync with what's going on, with what I feel, with what I know. It's just in sync. She's incredible. I think she's Egyptian, and she's darling. Oh, I like her. And she has a cat that sometimes visits. Just like a lot of readers have got cats that come in and say, hello, just like me. Except my boy's asleep. He got in a bit of trouble because I got home after being away and I found that he'd been bullying my little girl because he is a bully. And when Mum's away, he can get away with things. Well, he got told off. I said, I know exactly what you've been up to. And he's like, uh-oh, how'd you know that? So, yeah, but we're all fine now. He knows that if he keeps it up, that when I go away, he's in the naughty room, he'll have food, he'll have water, he's got his kitty litter, and he'll be separate from the girl who'll have the rest of the house. And it'll be like, well, you should have left her alone. I don't tolerate bullying. Oh, I just realised Skittles isn't here. She was lying right beside me. So, what was I talking about? I've completely got squirrel quokka moment. Oh, yeah, whatever. It'll come back. Probably 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll wake up and go, oh, that's what I was going to say. Yep, back to sleep. I think that's pretty much. Oh, I was going to tell you a few others. What's she? The Nordic Light, I think she is. She's from one of the Scandinavian countries, I think. She has the sweetest sort of nervous laugh. It's really lovely. And for some reason, wow, she really seems to hit the mark. Again, they pick apart things and you go with what you're drawn to, but there are some where I see and I go, yeah, maybe I'll look at that later. But it's when something keeps coming up and I keep being drawn to it, it's like, yeah. There's another lady, absolutely gorgeous young lady, the Gem Goddess. She's really good. They all give a different perspective and a different view, and when you're a reader, you sometimes can read the cards as they come out, but then you hear that other perspective and you go, I never actually thought about the cards that way. That's interesting. So there's a lot to learn from all the different readers, and I hope you find, there's so many, I cannot name them all. One day I will try on a video, and I know I've been saying that, but I realise what it would take. I don't even think I've got, I listen to a lot of healing frequency. There's some short ones from Quotable Integrity Healing Frequency Music. They've got some crystal ones. I was just, while I was talking, listening to an amethyst crystal frequency. And then there is the sound healers. I listen to a lot of theirs. Ninad, Good Vibes, Sapien Medicine. Usually at night for sleep, I listen to Native American Healing Flute or Beta. Bioresonance is pure frequency, and it can be really difficult, but wow, is it good. But these are all for another day. These are all for another video, because I could go on and on and on, and I probably would, and we're trying to keep these short. So I hope that has given some perspective on readers. I would love to hear your comments, your experiences, because I've experienced the good, the bad, and some pretty ugly stuff with spiritual people. I've met, so many awesome, amazing people, and I've also had the experience of some that try to take advantage. This was when I was just starting out and I didn't know a lot. And yeah, one in particular, boy, she led me astray. It caused a lot of problems. But I learned. Boy, did I learn from that. And the thing is always to remember, everything is a lesson if you look for it. Everything can teach you something. Anyway, on that note, I'm bidding you adieu. I'm sending you loads and loads and loads of love. Let's fill the world with love. Love energy. How awesome is love energy? Let's fill it. And sing, laugh, dance, do what makes you feel good. Look after you. Be kind to you. Be kind as best you can. I know we're all human, and there's somewhere you go, I just want to kill you. But in general, be kind to those around. And be kind, especially to this amazing planet that we call home. Because if we don't look after her, we got no home. And that's the ultimate homelessness that we don't want. Think about it. On that note, bye for now, and I'll see you later. Bye.